guys see the screen?
Yes. See it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. For those that didn't attend last week, just to do a short recap of last week. We talked about main beams. We talked about deep beams. We talked about the distance of your main beams, and also talked about the distance of your deep beams. So what we said was your high beams, they need to reflect 100 meters in front of you, and then your low beams, they need to reflect 450 meters in front of your car. And then we also
Yes.
talked about your park light needs to be fully functioning, and then your rear lamps needs to be fully functioning, and your rear lamps, they need to be visible to someone that's 30 meters behind you, away from you, even though it's during the day. So meaning when you use your brake lights, they need to be visible 30 meters behind you. And we talked about number plates, that your car should always be fitted with a number plate, even though the number might not be the same, because some vehicles differ. Some vehicles only require one number plate. To mention one of those cars, it's like a Ferrari, they require one number plate. A motorbike will require number plate at the back, only one number plate, but most of the cars require two number plates, which also respond with the card of the disc of the car. And then we also talked about what is allowed, what is not allowed on a freeway. We said vehicles that are drawn by animals, they're not allowed on a freeway. We said bicycles are not allowed on a freeway. We said motorcycles are not allowed on a freeway. Any bike or motorcycle that has a capacity of 50 cc is not allowed on a freeway. Electrically powered motor vehicles with a mass of 230 kilometers are not allowed on a freeway. Kgs. Motorized tricycles or quad bikes are not allowed on the freeway. Tractors, pedestrians are not allowed on the freeway. Animals are also not allowed on the freeway. The reason why these things are not allowed on the freeway is because they cannot drive the speed that is required on the freeway, which is 100 and 120. So because these vehicles cannot travel at that speed, they're not allowed on the freeway. And we also talked about the only time when you're allowed to take your hands out of the car, it's when you're giving hand signals. And you are not allowed to just randomly give hand signals on a freeway. You only do that in emergency situations. And we also talked about a learner driver may not drive on a freeway on their own unless they're accompanied by another driver who has the same class of license code. There should also be a difference. It doesn't mean that if you are a learner who has code 10 learners, and then you have another learners who has code 10, that is allowed. The other person needs to have a license, driving license of the same code. Okay, we also talked about the use of a hooter, where we said that a hooter needs to be loud enough to be heard 90 meters away. And it can only be used in situations where it's necessary or it's on the grounds of safety. We also talked about that you're not allowed to obstruct traffic or hinder with free flow of traffic on a highway or any public road. We also talked about you're not allowed to drive in reverse for unnecessary distance, meaning you can only travel in reverse up to an acceptable distance. So obviously the acceptable distance will be up to you, but you cannot say 1 kilometer is acceptable. So it should mostly be less than a kilometer. And then also we talked about when the vehicle is driving, no portion of your body should be outside of the vehicle. We also talked about you're not allowed to leave an engine running unattended. That also you are not allowed to park on a paving or drive on a paving. Only vehicles that are allowed to drive on a paving or a sidewalk, it's police, emergency vehicles, ambulances. And we also talked about What is an abandoned vehicle? We said that if your vehicle is left on a public road unattended, it's seen as an abandoned vehicle. And then if your vehicle is found on a public road without a number plate, or it has false number plates, or is found without any means of identifying the owner, it's declared as an abandoned vehicle. They will tow it away. If your vehicle is parked on a no stopping or parking zone, it's seen as an abandoned vehicle and it will be towed away. We also said that damages to public roads. You may not drag or spin your vehicle on a public road, and you are not allowed to use chalks or shoes between the wheels of your car on the road. Tires. We talked about your tires need to be at least 1 millimeter up. If they are less than 1 millimeter, the tires are not roadworthy. They need to be removed. We also talked about the side walls of your tires shouldn't be cut. We said that seat belts need to be worn at all times. Any child between the ages of 3 and 14 years, except basically a child. We say a child is a child if they're between the age of 3 and 14. But if that child is taller than 1.5 meters, then the child will be regarded as an adult. So meaning they need to put on a seatbelt. Then we talked about convoys, that there are certain days where convoys are allowed, and there are certain days where convoys are not allowed. And we also talked about animals on a public road. If you guys remember very well, this is a very descriptive requirement and is very important. We said that if you're controlling animals on a public road, you must carry a warning of at least 150 meters, meaning 1.5 meter, ahead of and beyond the herd. So meaning you need to have a red flag to warn the people of the animals on the road. They are saying the requirements is if it's between sunset and sunrise, meaning at night, it needs to be a red light. If it's sunset, if it is sunrise to sunset, you need to have a flag. That is 300 millimeter on all sides. Okay, and then also, let me see what we also talked about. Okay, we also talked about alcohol limits, and we also talked about accidents. What happens if there's an accident? We said that if an accident happens, you need to stop the vehicle immediately. Check for any injuries on the vehicle that you're in or on the next vehicle, and then provide any assistance where is possible to the injured. And then you need to provide your name, address, and address of the vehicle owner, and the vehicle registration number. If you had an accident, you need to report this to the police within 24 hours. And we also talked about if someone was killed during that accident, you need to call emergency services immediately and ensure that all vehicles involved are not moved without traffic officer's authorization. We also talked about reckless, negligent, and inconsiderate driving, that you may not drive in any manner that is regarded as negligent and also disregards the safety of other road users. And we also talked about the requirements of the amount of alcohol that is permitted in your body. So we said if you are driving on a public road, 0.05 if you hold a license without PDP, you're not a professional driver. Then 0.05 per 100 milliliter of blood. Hold on, I'm just allowing other people. Okay, 0.05 grams per 100 milliliter of blood or more is not permitted on the road. So meaning you need to be 0.04 or 0.03, then you'll be allowed to continue driving. But if anything above 0.05, then you'll be arrested. But if you have a public license, if you're a PDP, you're a professional driver, 0.02 grams per 100 millimeter of blood or more, then you're declared as drunk. You're not allowed to drive. So the only amount they will allow you to walk away with is if you have 0.01. That's when you are allowed. Remember, the difference between the two is if you are a PDP holder, 0.02 or less, you're allowed to drive. 0.02 and more, you are not allowed to drive. It's illegal. If you hold a license, normal license without PDP, 0.05
Right.
grams per 100 millimeter or lower, you are allowed to drive on a public road. And 0.05 or up, then you're not allowed to drive. Okay, let me just check. I think that will be just about it. Yes.
All.
So that's a recap. Yes, that's a recap for what we talked about on the last class that we had. So now we're going to get to the ending of rules of the road. Then after that, ask a few questions. Then we're gonna jump to road signs. Okay, they're saying your driver's license test. So basically, this talks about your driver's license. It talks about light and heavy motor vehicle test and a motorcycle test. I'm gonna ignore the motorcycle test because currently there's no one in the group that's doing motorcycle learners. So basically, if you're doing your light motor vehicle, depending on which code are you doing. If you're doing code 10, you're going to do 4 maneuvers. It's early docking, it's straight reverse, it's 45, and steep. Early docking, straight reverse, 45, and steep. The difference is early docking, you're reversing into poles. Straight reverse, you're reversing straight in between lines, 2 lines. You're not allowed to step in any of those lines. And then at the end, you need to place your back wheels in a block. A block is thrown on the floor. So the wheels of your truck at the back needs to enter that square. Okay? Then you have your steep. I'm sure you guys are familiar with a steep. You drive on a thingy, on a steep, and then you stop while you're on the steep. And then after you need to move without rolling back. Then you have your 45. 45 is just you driving around a curve. So the reason why it's called a 45 because the angle that you're driving in is a 45. Okay. And then if you are going to do your code 8, the maneuvers are a bit more. The maneuvers are a bit more because you're going to do your normal pre-inspection. You're also going to do a 3.10. You're going to do early docking. You're going to do parallel parking. You're going to do stopping and moving off an incline. That's your steep. You're going to do turning left. Turning left is your 45. Then you're going to do straight reverse. So basically, your code 8 has more maneuvers than your code 10. My advice, your code 10 is a bit more easier to do and to pass compared to your code 8. Okay. So basically, that will close the chapter of rules of the road. So now we're gonna jump to signs. I'm just gonna first do a few questions with you guys. Then from there, then we're going to do signs. Okay. You guys could be reading so far. Just moving at the back so that I can jump to science, so that I can do a quick run through science. Guys, after answering a few questions. Okay, can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Just jumping to. Oh, there we go. So the question is, which statement is correct? A heavy motor vehicle may not be used on a public road if it is fitted with a spot lamp which can emit a beam of light. I'm sure you guys know the answer to this one. Let me jump because we did this the other day. Okay, there's a question that's based on controls. They're saying when control 9, I'll show you guys which one is control 9, is used, the distance it takes the driver of a motor vehicle to stop. It is, number 1, longer on a wet road than on a dry road. Number 2, longer if the vehicle is traveling at a high speed. 3, longer if the vehicle is loaded. If you guys remember, this goes back 2 classes back. So the class that we had 2 classes back, we talked about this. So control number 9, it's your brake. It's this control here. It's the middle one. It's your brake. Okay, so possible answer number A, they say none of the above is correct. Number B, it says all of the above is correct. Number C says only number 1 is correct. So which one do you guys think is correct?
Number B.
Okay, why number B?
Because all of them seems it can be possible when you apply number 9.
Okay, correct. Okay, anybody else has a different explanation? Okay, yes, that's very correct. So if you are driving and you step on the brakes because the roads are wet, your tires don't have enough grip. So your stopping distance will be increased. Number 2, longer if the vehicle is traveling at a higher speed. If you're moving too quick, that's why if you remember on the rules of the road, they said that situations where you need to increase your following distance, it's number 1, if the roads are wet. Number 2, if you're traveling at a high speed. Number 3, if your vehicle is loaded. The moment when you're carrying weight, because the pressure on the brakes is more, your stopping distance increases. Okay, we're jumping on to the next question. Trailers of which the cross vehicle mass does not exceed 10,000 kgs. You guys shouldn't get confused about cross vehicle mass. It just means the weight of the car. If the weight of the car is more than 10,000 kgs or 10 tons, A shall be fitted with a yellow reflective material to the side and the rear of the vehicle. B shall be fitted with a yellow reflective material to the sides of the vehicle only. C are not required to fit yellow reflective material to the vehicle. Before you guys could answer the question, so basically what happens is that a trailer, because it's not a vehicle itself, it doesn't have what is it? A person driving the trailer, but rather it has a vehicle controlling its movement at the back. So at night, this trailer needs to be more visible. 1 is required to have tail light. 2 is required to have reflective strips on each side so that you can be able to see on the side because there's no other way of you seeing it without reflective strips. So the reflective strips on the sides, they require them to be yellow. If you want to also extend it and make them even more, you can put the red one at the back of
Mm.
the trailer. But the requirement
Yes.
is that it should have yellow ones on the side. So there is no requirements for the front of the trailer. There's only requirements for the sides of the trailer.
Right.
And
And
the back is optional. Yes, the back is optional because already at the back you have your tail lights that make it more visible. So which answer do you guys think is correct?
Hey,
Number A, very correct. Number A, when seeing this sign, the driver knows that he or she must, number A, proceed on the left side of the road. Number B, keep in the left lane only. Number C, pass to the left of the obstacle on which the sign has been placed. Which one do you guys think is correct?
I will say keep left because it shows that you must be on the left side. I will say number B.
Number B. Okay. Someone else wants to try?
Number B.
Number B. Okay. Anybody else wants to try? Nobody wants to try. Okay. So basically, the correct answer is number C.
C.
The reason why it's number C is because with this sign, it's telling you that you need to pass on the left side of this row of this sign because there is an obstacle on the way. The left lane one, it points straight. You guys will get to understand it when we do the signs just now. So
Okay.
keep in the left lane only. The sign will have one arrow pointed straight. But because it's pointing downward, it's telling you need to pass on the left side of this sign because of something that could be happening on the road. It could be because there's an obstacle. It could be because there's a small little bump on the road that might damage your car. So it's telling you to pass on the left side of this sign. Okay, so now we're gonna jump to signs. We're gonna jump to signs. Just tell me if you guys can see the screen.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Before we start, I'm going to explain to you guys just a couple of colors to notice. So if you see a green color, it's a directional sign. It's mostly on directions. You see a freeway sign, it's a blue color. We call this a compulsory color. It forces you and tells you exactly what to do. You cannot go against anything that sign with that color says. Yellow. Yellow is a temporary sign. Mostly, if the sign has a yellow backdrop, is a temporary sign. And we have a brown color. If the backdrop of the sign is brown, it's a tourism sign. Tourism sign. Yellow, temporary sign. Blue, freeway signs. The compulsory signs that tell you exactly what to do, and you cannot go against what the sign says. Green, directional signs. So what you're gonna see signs where that tell you 5 kilometers to Kimberley, 3 kilometers to Boston. Those are gonna be green, mostly. Okay, now let's start. So basically, because of these types of signs are regulatory signs, your control signs. These types of signs, I'm going to run a bit quickly when I pass them, and I'll slow down on signs that I know that you guys are not that familiar with. Because these ones, you guys see them every day, you're familiar with them, you are aware what they mean. So I'll just quickly run through them. Then after, I'm gonna slow down when I get to other signs. Because out of all the chapters of your learner's book, signs are the ones with the longest chapter. Very long. Rules of the road, They are very short, but they are very detailed and they are very important. So you should practice your rules of the road a lot. You need to practice your signs a lot. Controls is the shortest, it's the smallest, it's the easiest. I can even do that with you guys like right now. In 5 minutes, I'll be done because they are not the most difficult. Okay, let's start. Just to describe, if you see this type of a sign with a red backdrop at the back, it means that you are going against the sign. There is a high possibility of a danger happening. High possibility of a danger happening because the backdrop is red. So when you see a stop sign, the first thing that you do is you stop at the stop sign, you take your car off gear, then you indicate your intention, you check if it's safe to move, then you move. If it's a multi-stop sign, there's 4 roads, all of them have a stop sign. You stop at the stop sign, you check who arrived before you, and that person will be the one to leave before you. Okay, we're moving on. A yield sign. A yield sign, it means that you will be driving, and then as you're driving, and you find other traffic passing on the road that you're about to enter into, you need to yield for them. You need to allow them to pass first before you can pass. Yield sign, if you go against a yield sign, there is a possibility of a danger, but it's not as high as when it's a stop sign. How do you know the difference? A yield sign has a red line around the sign, and a stop sign has a red backdrop. The amount of red tells you about the possibility of a high danger. Then we have a stop sign. The numbers at this number at the bottom, it just tells you that it's a 3-way. That is a 3-way intersection that all sides have a stop sign, meaning all roads that intersect at that 3-way has a stop sign. This is where you're going to stop, and then after check who arrived before you at the stop sign. Then the person that arrived before you will exit first, will leave first, and in that sequence, you guys will continue. The next one is just the same thing as the one at the top. It just means that it's a 4-way intersection or a crossroad. But all sides, all roads that are entering that meet at that intersection, all have a stop sign. This is a yield sign with a pedestrian at the bottom. It's just telling you that if you see this type of a sign, you need to yield for pedestrians. It means that if you're driving in and you're seeing that this pedestrian that wants to cross the road, you need to yield for them, meaning you need to allow them to go first. Meaning you need to allow them to cross the road first. Meaning you need to allow them to be the ones that pass first. You come after pedestrians. Okay? This type of a stop and go sign, you find this mostly as stop and goes, where there's road constructions going on. When you see this type of a sign, you need to follow the sign as it says. If it says stop, you need to stop. If they open that you should go, you should go. Then we have this type of a sign. It's a stop and with a yield sign and a directional sign. If you see this type of a sign, it's telling you that if you're proceeding straight ahead, if you're driving straight, you need to follow the rules of the stop sign. You need to stop, and then if there's any other vehicle that's on the road, you need to let it pass first. Then you can be able to pass. But if you're turning left, you can just yield, check if there is any cars that are passing, and you can proceed without stopping. But if there's any oncoming traffic or if there's any pedestrian passing, you need to yield for them. Then you can proceed without stopping. This one is telling you that you need to yield for traffic at the cycle. So basically what they mean is this. If you find the traffic cycle, you allow the cycle before you can enter. You need to yield for it. Meaning you find it in the cycle, you cannot just jump in. You need to allow it to pass and then you can follow after. And then if you see this type of a sign, you should know that area is for use by pedestrians and vehicles are not allowed. So the difference between this side and this one says that you and the pedestrians are allowed to share the road. It means you are allowed to share the road, but they have to get a right of way. But this one is telling you that you are not allowed as a car in that area. Only pedestrians are
That
allowed
is-
in that area. Exactly. So we continue. So this type of a sign is a single carriageway. You find this type of a sign where you find that, for example, it's a one-way bridge. You know, there's these old bridges, they're called steel bridges, where only one car is allowed on that bridge. You find this type of bridges in places like, I think, let me see, Fontaine. There is a bridge like that. If those of you guys that are in the family of Fontaine, those of you guys that are not familiar with that, if you know the Winterton Road, there is also a bridge like that. Only one car is allowed on that bridge. So basically what this sign is telling you that once you see this type of a sign, you should first check if there's any vehicle on the bridge before you can pass. And if there's any vehicle on the bridge, you need to allow it to pass first. Then you can follow after. Doesn't matter which direction are you coming from, you see this type of a sign, you should know that any vehicle that's on the bridge already before you has a right of way, and you need to exit the bridge before you can enter. This is a no entry sign. So no vehicles may enter if you see this sign. Remember when we were doing those questions, there was that arrow that's pointing downwards and there's a arrow that's pointing outwards. So this is what I was talking about. So if you see this type of a sign, it says this indicates that there is a one-way carriage to the left. Proceed in the direction of the arrow. Remember what I said? One-way carriage meaning a one-way lane to the left. So if you see this type of a sign, you know that you need to proceed to the left in that lane. If it's pointing downwards and it has a different color, it speaks a different language. It speaks a different direction. Okay, the same one. This one points to the left. It's telling you that the one carriageway to the right, and you should proceed in the direction of the arrow. This one also talks about the carriageway that's going straight ahead. You should proceed straight ahead. Okay, now I'm gonna slow down because this is important. Remember, the first thing to notice is the color of the sign. What did I say the blue color means? Okay, I said I'm gonna. It means what?
Medentary, something like that.
Okay, it's fine. I'm gonna repeat the colors again. A brown color is tourism signs. Yellow color is temporary signs. A blue color is freeway signs. But this color is a command sign. It tells you exactly what you should do and instructs you how to do it, and you cannot go against the sign. Then a green color is your directional signs. Okay, so once you see any sign that's blue, you should know that it's a command sign. If you are asked any question that says something that goes against the sign, you should know that the possible answer is only the one that talks about commanding you what the sign says, telling you what the sign says. Okay, so when you see this type of a sign, you should know that you need to switch your headlights on, but your lights shouldn't be on. It shouldn't be on high. They should be on dipped. So when you see this type of a sign, it's telling you you should switch your headlights on dim, not on bright. To switch your headlights on, and then this type of a sign also tells you that there's a toll gate. This one, this is very important. You guys need to know this one. This one, the difference is this. On the other one, there's a red line around it with a white backdrop. If there's a red line around a number with a white backdrop, it's telling you that that's the speed limit. But now, if this color changes to blue and there's a white line around it, that's the speed minimum. Speed limit, it means that's the speed that you're not allowed to drive above. And then minimum speed is the speed that you're not allowed to drive below. So meaning if they find you where there's this sign and you're driving 40, they're giving you a ticket for driving too slow. If you are found driving in a road and you're driving a speed lower than the one that's mentioned on this sign, you are going to be given a ticket. Is it 45? Is it 46? If it's below 50, you're getting a ticket. The slowest you can drive is 50 and up. Okay, and then we're continuing. Remember this sign from the questions. It says to indicate that the road users to indicate this sign indicates that road users must drive on the side of an obstruction where the sign is displayed. Remember, on the side of is the left side. On the side of the obstruction, meaning the obstruction will be here, and then you need to drive on this side.
Okay.
So are you guys more clear about that question that was asked?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Continuing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then this sign, it says indicate the direction in which you must proceed. Drive only in the direction indicated by the arrow. Because the arrow is pointing which direction, you see that. But now the difference is this. Let me just show you guys. Remember this sign, it says this is to indicate there is a one-way carriage to the right. Proceed in the direction of the arrow. So on this one, if you don't want to go left, you can decide not to enter that road. Now, this one, a very different thing. This one, it's not asking you. It will be placed on the road, and then in front there will be this sign. You don't have an option to say, I can go back. You are supposed to go in that direction of the arrow. It's telling you in that direction of the arrow. You should proceed. Mostly this is for a detour. You find that a road is closed and they put this type of a sign. Meaning if you're on that road, you need to travel in the direction of that arrow. You cannot go in any other direction except what the sign says. Remember, it's a command sign. It tells you exactly what to do. Then the next sign, yellow sign. The backdrop is yellow. What did I say about a yellow sign?
Temporary.
Temporary. Very correct. Okay, this one, it indicates the direction in which you must proceed. Drive only in the direction indicated by the arrow at the next junction. If you guys remember the questions that we did, I mentioned this. I said if the arrow has a bend, you should think about it as a driver on the road. If you're driving, the sign will be before you reach the direction. So it will always talk about the next junction. It always talks about the next junction. It doesn't say turn left now. It talks about the next junction. Next one, this sign is just telling you that at the next cycle, you guys need to drive in a clockwise direction, meaning left to right. Okay, we're gonna continue. These are your command signs, but they also fall under regulatory signs. So on this one, I'm gonna also slightly run quickly through them, but I'm gonna slow down on the ones that I know that need you guys to pay more attention to. The reason why I'm gonna run quickly on them is because some of them are very obvious. Like you can see, this is a taxi. This is like your Uber, your Bolt, your Maxi taxi. It's a taxi. So once you see this type of a sign, you know that that area or that part of the road is specifically aside for use of taxis only. But mini taxis, not your 30-seater taxis, but this type of a taxi. Your Bolt, your Uber, yes, you mostly find this at airports. Okay? And then when you find this type of a sign with a yellow backdrop, it's showing you that the part of the road it's assigned for mini taxis or buses. And then the next one is also telling you that drivers of a certain heavy vehicle to use the road or part of the road indicated by this sign. So, okay. So if you guys are seeing this, remember what I said about the blue color. It's a command sign. It's a compulsory sign. It also tells you the minimum. So basically, when you see this type of a sign, it's telling you that if your vehicle doesn't weigh 10 tons, you're not supposed to be on that lane. So the lane is specifically preserved for vehicles that weigh 10 tons or more, meaning a minimum of 10 tons. Okay, so we're continuing. So now the difference between this sign and this sign is this. This one, it says if your vehicle weighs 10 tons or more, the total weight of the vehicle is 10 tons or more. That lane is preserved for you. Now, this one, I'm gonna read the words that were used and I'm gonna describe to you guys what it means so that you guys can properly understand what this means. It says to indicate that the road or part of it is set aside for use by goods vehicles with a cross vehicle mass or cross combination mass exceeding the mass indicated in tons by the number on such a sign. So basically what they're telling you here is this. If your vehicle, for example, weighs 3 tons, your truck weighs 3 tons, but the amount of weight that it's carrying makes the vehicle to be 10 tons or more, you need to use this lane. Remember, you find that the vehicle weighs 5 tons, but what you're carrying makes the combined weight of the vehicle with the weight of what you're carrying to be more than 10 tons or 10 tons. You need to use that lane. Do you guys understand this? This is very important because this
Yeah.
has made a lot of people fail the learners.
Mm.
So you guys understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, let's say right now, I'm gonna ask a question. Let's say right now, if your vehicle weighs 9 tons and then you're carrying 500 kgs, are you allowed on that lane?
No.
Why not?
Because it's 9.5 tons instead of 10 tons. So
Thank
it's
you. Very correct.
yes.
Very, very, very correct. So basically, the combined weight, it needs to be more than 10 tons. Very important. They're
Yes.
gonna ask you guys this type of a question. You guys need to remember what I described. Okay. The
Mm.
next one, it says that to indicate that the road or part of it is set aside for use by goods vehicles only. So basically, this type of a sign is telling you that temporarily that side of the road is being reserved for goods vehicles only. Okay, we're continuing. This one, it says to indicate that the road or part of the road may be used for pedestrians only. Then we're continuing. Also, this one, it says the side of the road or a part of the road has been reserved for pedestrians or cyclists only. Cyclists is bicycles. Okay, now we're getting to another category. It's called prohibiting signs. Prohibiting signs is signs that tell you what not to do. Remember, the blue sign tells you exactly what to do. The other type of signs that have a red line around them with a white backdrop, they tell you what you can do, what you're allowed to do, but they're not commanding you and telling you exactly what to do, but they're telling you what you're allowed to do. Okay, so these ones are telling you what not to do. They prohibit you.
Mm.
So on this one, they're saying that you're prohibited from turning left. Next one, you're prohibited from turning right. Next one, you're prohibited from turning left at the intersection. That one, you are temporarily prohibited from turning right at the intersection. The reason why I'm saying temporarily is because it's yellow at the back. This one, they're saying that you're
Yellow.
prohibited from
Mm.
doing a U-turn. Next one, they're saying you're prohibited from stopping. No stopping on when you see this type of a sign. Remember, when we go back to the rules of the road, they're saying that if your vehicle has been parked on a no stopping zone and it's unattended, it's declared as a vehicle that is abandoned. Remember,
Mm.
if your vehicle is parked on a no stopping zone and it's unattended, it's seen as an abandoned vehicle. You'll be towed away.
Yep.
Okay, we're continuing. This one is telling you that no parking is allowed. This one is telling you that no overtaking for the next 500 meters. Next one is telling you that no overtaking of goods vehicles for the next 500 meters. The next one is telling you that, okay, before I continue to the next one, let me just handle this one first. This type of a sign, if you see this type of a sign, it's telling you that no overtaking for the next 500 meters. And you see this type of a sign, it's telling you that no overtaking for the next 500 meters, meaning half a kilometer. Now, if you're a goods vehicle and you see this sign, does it mean that you're allowed to overtake?
No,
Okay, why not?
because the sign says you must not overtake.
Very correct. So even if it's not saying goods vehicle here, but it's mentioning that some certain cars are not allowed to overtake. You are not allowed to overtake for the next 500 meters. Okay, the next one is says no hooting. Next one says no hiking. So you look at it from a driver, you look at it from a driver's perspective. It says that you're not allowed to pick up passengers.
Mm.
It doesn't only talk about, it doesn't only talk to pedestrians, it also talk to drivers. Pedestrians are not allowed to hike there, and they're also, drivers are not allowed to collect people there. This one prohibits motorcycles temporarily from that part of the road. This one says no hawkers. In your learners test, they might talk about vendors, not necessarily vendors, but they mean like traders, vendors. It will say no vendors or no hawkers. Next one, this type of a sign, it talks about no pedestrians. So mostly you find this type of a sign on a freeway because that's an area where pedestrians are not allowed. Okay, now we're jumping to reservation signs. Reservation signs. What reservation signs are? It's types of signs that talk about area that is specifically reserved for a certain vehicle or a certain class of vehicle. Okay, so the first one, it talks about the left lane is reserved for buses. How do you know it's the left lane? If you see these dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, yes, the yellow dot. They're talking about a lane. It's a lane. So depending on which side of the dots the vehicle class of vehicle is at, it's talking about the side of the road the vehicle is at. So meaning this one says that on the left, because the vehicle and the R is on the left lane is reserved for buses or the class of vehicle that is mentioned on the sign. The next one, it's also a lane, but the difference is that this lane is a straight lane. This one, it's a curve. It's a curve. Yes. So they're saying that the curved yellow line indicates the start of a lane reserved for exclusive use of a class of vehicle indicated. So meaning it's the start of a lane where only buses are allowed. Next one, remember I talked about the lane where it's at, now it's on the right side. So it's telling you that the right side lane is reserved for vehicles. And the next one is the same also, it's on the left, but because they put a square here, they're just telling you that anything can be placed there. It can be a taxi, it can be a bus, it can be a bike, it can be a pedestrian. So any class that's mentioned here, you know that the left side lane is reserved for use of the class of vehicle that's mentioned here. Next one is the opposite. Then this one is talking about the zone. It's saying that this stop zone is reserved for exclusive use of the class of vehicle or organization shown on the symbol. So let's say on this logo here is written left. You know that only Lex taxis are allowed on number 1 side of the road. It's reserved for the side of the road. Okay, so now we're gonna jump and then we're gonna do a couple of questions just to give you guys' brain a rest and to also help you guys understand a bit better. Okay, do you guys see the sign?
Yes.
You remember what we
Yes.
talked about? So now it's clear,
Mm.
right? And the answer is number C.
Yes.
We're getting to the next one. When approaching this sign, the driver must, number A, know that he is warned of a stop ahead. Number B, stop behind the stop line and give right of way to vehicles from the right. Number C, yield and carry on when it is safe to do so. Can you guys tell me?
Number B.
Number B. Okay, why number B?
He said stop and you must give a right of way to the, you must check the cars that are, it depends who stops first there.
Okay. Anybody else wants to try? I'm not gonna see if he's correct or not correct. Okay. Silence means concern. Silence means concern. Okay, if you guys look at this sign, there is a moon, there's a sun, there's a stop sign, there's the kilometer, the meters of how many meters before the stop sign.
Stop.
So if you look at number A says, know that he is warned of a stop sign ahead. This talks about a stop sign because it's meters in front, meaning it's ahead. Number B, it says stop behind the stop line and give right of way to vehicles from the right. Remember, this doesn't talk about a direction, doesn't talk about a line. It's talking about a stop sign ahead. Number B is incorrect. Number C, yield and carry on when it is safe to do so. Remember, it's talking about distance. So when it's talking about something that's ahead.
Okay.
So number A is the correct one because it's warning you about a stop sign that is 200 meters ahead of you.
Okay.
Okay. Which
Okay.
statement is true? Which statement is true? Number A, a person may only drive a motor vehicle in such a way that it causes excessive noise in an urban area. Number B, a person may only drive a motor vehicle in such a way that it causes excessive noise outside a build-up area. Number C, no person shall operate a vehicle on a public road in such a manner as to cause excessive noise. Remember on rules of the road, just to remind you guys very well. Remember on rules of the road, we talked about a vehicle needs to be fitted with a silencer box.
Yes.
A silencer, so that it doesn't cause excessive noise on the road. And also we talked about that no motor vehicle is allowed to cause excessive noise. We also talked about no person should operate a vehicle in a public road and cause excessive noise.
Excessive noise.
Yes.
That's number
So they're
3.
saying which
Number C.
number C.
Number C. Yes.
Okay, number C. And then anybody else? Do we have a different option?
Number C.
Number C. Okay, I have a lot of votes for number C. Why number C, guys?
Because you can't. They say
In
no.
order to-
You can't.
no,
You can't operate a vehicle on a public road that makes a lot of noise, excessive noise.
Very true. That is in the rules of the road. Very, 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 very true. Very, very true. They're saying that this signal indicates that number A, this lane is for fast moving traffic only. Number B, you may drive there. Number C, this lane is for slowing traffic only. Okay, now, before you guys can answer, let me just describe things here. Colors are very important, guys. Colors are super important. So if you remember on a robot, green means go.
Go.
But now there's also a question. Go where? So now this sign is telling you that you should travel, you should drive forward, but in the direction that the arrow is pointing. You need to drive on the lane that's under this arrow. This is an overhead sign. So most you will find this at your toll gates, where it's telling you you can go, but only on the lane under this arrow. That's why this arrow that's pointing down and it's green. So if you look at this, number A says this lane is for fast moving traffic only. If you go back to the sign, it doesn't talk about speed. It doesn't talk about fast anything. So number A, we're cutting it out. It's incorrect because it doesn't describe what the sign says.
Mm.
Number B, it says you may drive there. Okay. Green, it says you can go, meaning you can drive. Then where should I drive? There.
Mm.
Meaning where the arrow is pointing. Number C, this lane is for slow moving traffic only. This arrow talks about going, talks about the direction or the place where you should drive, but it doesn't talk about slow or fast. Number B is the correct one.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm gonna pause here. I'm gonna jump back to where we were at, but I'm going to just slightly mix it up a little. I want to show you guys something different, okay? Because since science, I choose the longest chapter, I'm going to, in between, just hit subjects that I know that they're very easy for you guys to understand it. And we can be able to pass it so that we can be able to have more time for road signs. Okay, so these are your controls. These are your controls on the vehicle. This is the smallest chapter in your learners, but there is a lot of questions about it. This is your controls. So basically, I'm gonna start doing them one by one. Then you guys could be able to understand. So I'm gonna label them each, and I'll tell you guys what each is used for. I'm gonna start here. So your mirrors, your exterior mirror, your side mirrors. Your side mirrors are used for viewing behind the vehicle. So your side mirror has a certain spot on the vehicle that you can be able to see, which is the back of the vehicle. You can only be able to see that area, but it doesn't allow you to see your blind spots. So you still need to use your head over your shoulder to see your blind spot. So your exterior mirrors are used to view behind the vehicle, but not your blind spot.
Not a
B.
blind spot. Mm.
Next one, it's your wipers. The wiper blades are used to wipe water during rain, or you can also spray your windscreen and wipe just to increase your visibility, your clarity of the windscreen to see in front of you. So you can still clean off the windscreen, or you can use it to wipe your windscreen while you're driving in the rain.
Mm.
Next one, it's your rear view mirror. Your rearview mirror is used to see directly behind you. When can this be used? It can be used while as you're driving on the road or when you're about to stop at a stop sign. Number one requirement when you stop at a stop sign, if you see that there's a stop sign in front of you, you're going to obviously slow down, but while as you're stopping, you need to look at your rearview mirror. You need to be aware of what's behind you. You need to look at your rearview mirror. If you're doing your driver's test and then you stop at a stop sign, while as you're looking at a side mirror, you're going to lose points. So when you stop at a stop sign, you need to keep your eyes on your rearview mirror. Okay? Next one, your indicator. The indicator can be in whichever side, it can be on the right, it can be on the left. But whichever location it is in your vehicle is used for indicating your intentions. You indicate whether if you're going left or if you're going right. And it is always required that you indicate your intention before time. It means that before you can reach the stop sign, you need to already indicate which direction are you going. You are not allowed to stop and then indicate your intention. You need to indicate your intention before you could get to your stop sign or direction that you're going to. Steering wheel. Steering wheel is used to steer the vehicle left or right. Okay, or in a particular direction. This is also still your rearview mirror and your hooter. Your hooter is used as a warning signal, as a safety feature. For example, you're driving and someone is not alert of you as a vehicle being on the road. That's where you're going to use your hooter to warn the person of the danger that's coming. People use it for greeting, but it's not allowed. In your learner's book, it's used for warning signal or for safety reasons. Then you have your accelerator. Your accelerator is used for increasing your speed and decreasing your speed. Your accelerator is not used for stopping the vehicle. It's not used for stopping the vehicle. It's used for increasing speed or reducing speed. Then you have your foot brake. Your foot brake is used for reducing speed
Speed.
or stopping. Reducing speed or stopping.
Stop.
The difference between the two is your accelerator, you use it to increase and decrease your speed, but you don't use it to stop. Your foot brake, you use it for reducing speed or stopping the vehicle. And then we're jumping on to the clutch. The clutch is this one. It's always located on the left side of your driver's side, on the pedal. It's always located on the left pedal. Left pedal. So what this is used for is used for disengaging the engine for gear change. So basically what happens is that while as the vehicle is driving, or if the vehicle is stationary, for you to be able to slot in a gear, there needs to be something that separates the clutch plate and the engine, the gearbox and the engine. And then that is the clutch. The moment you step on the clutch, it separates the two, allows you to put in a gear, then it combines them again. Then the car moves in that gear. So you cannot use a gear. You cannot put in a gear without the clutch. Clutch is very important because it allows you to slot in a gear. Okay, we're jumping. We're getting to the gear. Your gear is used for selecting gears. Gear lever is used for selecting gears. So if they say change gears, the first control that you're going to use is clutch. You're going to clutch in, then after you're going to use your gear lever to change into the gear that you require. Then lastly is the parking brake. The parking brake is to hold the vehicle stationary, meaning your foot brake stops the vehicle is no longer in motion, then you want to exit the vehicles, but you want the vehicle to be stationary. You're going to use your parking brake or your handbrake. Are you guys clear on controls? Is there any questions on controls?
No.
Okay, other guys, is there any questions on controls?
No.
Okay, no questions on controls. No questions on controls. Okay. So far we did the signs and we ended on reservatory signs. So I'm gonna call it a night. We're gonna end the class and then I'm gonna update you guys on the next class. On the next class, we're gonna do a quick recap on what we did on this class. Then after that, then we're gonna continue with road signs. So for you guys, it's homework. Remember on the app. Did you guys all download the app?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So nobody has problems with downloading the app.
No.
Okay. Nyasha, did you manage to download the app? Nyasha? Okay, I guess Nyasha is silent. Winielo, did you manage to download the app? Winielo? Okay, they're silent. Okay, no problem. So basically for your homework, you need to go to the practice test. And while you're on the practice test, you should go to rules of the road, practice rules of the road. If you check rules of the road, there is 5 practices, 5 practice tests. On rules of the road, you need to at least do 2 to 3 rules of the road tests per day or in 2 days. 2 to 3. 2 to 3. And then after that, you're going to get 2 vehicle controls. These ones, it's not really a lot. You can do all of these in a day. Then after that, yes, so after that, then you can continue reading and practicing the rest of the questions, like doing your mock questions. Just to describe it, a practice test is to test if you understand and you know how to answer the questions. Your book questions, it's your questions that help you go chapter by chapter. And then your mock exam is a simulation of the actual exam. So if you pass, remember I'm repeating again, if you guys can pass your mock exam 4 times to 5 times, there's no way you're going to fail your learner's test. So it's very important that you practice your mock test. It's very important that you practice and practice and practice so that they can be a simple pass. Okay, so I'm gonna see you guys on the next class. So I'm gonna end the class. So good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.